Hello, YouTube. How are you? My name is Mike. This channel right here is Health and Wealth. My take today, I'm not sure if it's a positive or a negative. It's more of just an educational piece to talk about how YieldMax makes their money, what I plan on doing with my money come this Monday, and the reason why I'm going to do something with my money. It's a little bit different, but I think it could work out for me. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video here. We'll talk about some premiums. We'll talk about some websites. We're going to talk about how YieldMax makes their money. So first of all, thanks so much for joining me. Appreciate you being here and tuning in today for this video. I did release this to my members first, so thank you to them for paying to be a part of the group here, and really appreciate anything that you guys put out there. It's awesome, to be honest with you. It's really really nice of you. So yeah, we'll go ahead. We'll get things opened up here. I'm going to bring my face down here first, and I've got three options chains open here. I just took screenshots of them. Now today is Saturday when I'm recording this, but luckily, those stayed up there. So, these are the three holdings that I have. Sorry, they're not the three holdings I have. These are the underlying stocks of the ETFs that I hold. So, I hold Misty MSTY. I hold Coney CONY, and I own NVDY NVDY. Now, we're going to talk about volatility. We're going to talk about this previous payment that NVIDIA just paid out. I think 89 cents. You know what? Let's go look at it real quick here. Sometimes you just kind of you forget. You forget, right? It's all good. Was it 89 cents? Am I going the wrong way? Oh, I'm not. There we go. 89 cents. Woohoo. I was right. So, yeah, 89 cents. Take a look here. This is one of the lowest payouts for NVIDIA in a very long time. Now, why do you think this is the lowest payment since January of last year? Well, it all has to do, mostly has to do with volatility. What does that mean? Well, not as many people are buying and selling NVIDIA right now. And there's a few reasons for that. One of the reasons is NVIDIA itself said that they are going to be slowing down on their massive earnings that they've had over the last year. So, for that reason, people are taking their money and they're going to be purchasing and selling other stocks out there. And so that's what's happened here. It's really slowed down the volatility, and thus we get a lower distribution. Now, that's one reason that that's happening. Another reason is, YieldMax, they trade options, right? Synthetic options, calls, things like that. And so sometimes they're not always successful with those, and they have to they either put their call too close to the strike price, um their strike price, sorry, too close to the underlying price of the stock itself, Nvidia, and they'll have to close that option at the end of the week or 2 weeks. And sometimes if their strike price is, say, let's set at 130 and the share price goes to 140, then they're going to have to buy to close that option. And when they buy to close it, they always want to try and make it, just a few cents. But if it's a big difference, then they're going to have to pay big money to close those options. So those are the two reasons why our distribution this month was lower than usual. And so to recap, it was volatility, but also they put their strike prices too close to the underlying price of the stock itself. They had to close those options, and that costs money. So what I've done here is I've brought up an example, and so I had to go digging for this. NVIDIA fund managers used to post their trades on the website, and I'll show that to you here shortly. But this is what I'm going to be showing you right now. So here's what I had to do. I don't have Excel, I don't have Word, so I had to download Office Libre to open this up. I'm not a big fan of doing that, but you can see all the buy to closes here. Now this is for this week. This just happened, yesterday. So, I want to give you an example before we show all of the NVIDIA buy to closes. Let's go to AMZ down below here. AMZ, here's a buy to close in row 41 of 2 cents. So what they did is they closed their option. They close their option. Usually on Fridays these happened, and it only cost them 2 cents per share to close that. So 760 options right there, and it cost them 2 cents per. So that's really good. I mean, let's take a look at another one at AMZ here. Buy to close, 27 cents. That's not as good, obviously, but it's also pretty decent. Let's take a look at NVIDIA up top here. They made a ton of buy to closes, which, tells me they had tons of positions, but their website didn't tell us that. We had to go into downloading all holdings and then open this up and, decipher the code. For your average retail investor, you're not going to be able to decipher the code. I'm average and I've used Chat GPT to help me out with some information, but for me, I feel like their weekly calls should be on the website. For me, I like to look at the website. I like to know how they're doing. I'm going to show you an example of one of them that's still doing it, but I trade 3 and only one is showing the weekly calls. But let's go over the buy to close right here. So you can see here they buy to close. It cost them $5.30 per 20,000. My goodness, that was massive. Here's another one. Buy to close, right? $4.85 per. This one's even worse. 52,018. Here's another one. Buy to close. My goodness. Let me make sure. Quantity per value. 10,000 on this one. $5.40. 3,800 doesn't look as bad, right? $5.50. So here's the last one. 8,000 is the quantity. $5.21. So it's not looking promising for 3 weeks and I don't know 3 days away from now for that NVDY distribution. Not looking promising. But why did they have to close these? Well, let's take a look at NVDY over the NVIDIA, sorry, over the last little bit here. Here's the NVIDIA stock. Let's go over the last 5 days. You can see it has a massive, massive jump here on Friday, but it started the week at $138. It did have some dips. It did have some swings upward here to 139. Oh, sorry, let me bring that up for you. And then on, what is that? January 3rd, which was Friday, it had a massive climb here all the way up to 143, and then it ended at $144. Now, on this Excel file, they have the dates that these options were running to. And so let's take a look here, see if we can decipher that code. It looks like 2025, 01 January, and then 10. So that would have been this next Friday coming up here. That was a call for $141. So they've closed the option early. They've paid a crazy amount of money to do that. $141. Let's go back to, and of course, right now we don't know when that was open, but $141. If it was opened on Monday, which, they usually open on a Friday or Monday, sometimes they let these things go for 2 weeks. It was at $138. So they closed it at $141 call. Let's say they opened it at 138. They try and get as much premium as possible. And so they go, $3 out in this one as an example, potentially. Not good, right? So I know they do the credit call spreads as well, but the credit call spreads are far, far higher and rarely get triggered. So not good. They're ending up spending money to close these options. And so the reason I'm sitting on this for so long is because I wanted to take a look to see, how does YieldMax make money? So great, we get our 89 cents. Maybe net this, 4 weeks from now, it might be less than that if this kind of action happens. How do we make money as a company over at YieldMax? So I went into Chat GPT to find out that information, and I thought that it would be pretty valuable for you. I found it pretty interesting. So I just typed in ChatGPT, how does YieldMax, the company itself, make money? YieldMax, the company managing YieldMax ETFs, generates revenue primarily through the fees that they charge for managing their funds. Here's how it works: management fees. So this is called the expense ratio. YieldMax ETFs have an expense ratio, a percentage of the fund's total assets that is paid annually by investors to cover the fund's operating costs. For example, if YieldMax ETF has an expense ratio of 0.99%, which most of them do, there's only a few that are actually a little bit higher. There's one that's a little bit lower now. And then it says, and the funds manages $1 billion in assets. The company earns approximately 1 billion times 0.0099 equaling $9.9 million annually. And so we'll skip down to number two. So number two says scale of assets under management, AUM. This is a term you may have heard before. The more assets the company manages via investor inflows, that's us, or fund performance growth, the higher the revenue. Popular ETFs like Misty, NVDY, Tesla, with billions in AUM, generate substantial fees. So how are they making money? Us, right? Licensing and partnerships. YieldMax may have partnerships with financial institutions, index providers, or other entities to create and market their ETFs. These partnerships could bring in additional revenue. So number four, YieldMax ETFs are option-based strategies to generate high yields, while the options income is primarily used to benefit investors. Distributed as dividends, we call them distributions. YieldMax may benefit indirectly by attracting more investors due to high yields, therefore increasing their AUM and fees, right? So they're making money on people investing in the ETFs themselves. Now, there's also number five here: administrative and other service fees. YieldMax may earn fees from providing ancillary services like fund administration, record keeping, or consulting related to ETF operations. So down below is just an example of what we had just talked about. So I'm not going to go over that a second time with you, but I will talk about this. This structure aligns with the business models of other ETF providers like BlackRock, Vanguard, Invesco. However, YieldMax differentiates itself with niche, high yield options based ETFs targeting income focused investors. So there we go. I went even further. I asked it another question. I said, let's calculate what they make. So to calculate how much YieldMax makes from fees on their NVDY fund, as an example, because this video is more focused around NVDY and what I'm planning on doing with my NVDY distributions. That's where I kind of went with this. It says we need to consider the expense ratio of the fund. For the purpose of this calculation, let's assume the expense ratio for NVIDIA is 0.99%, which it is, which is typical for the YieldMax ETFs. Like I said, there's a couple that are different, but your main ones that I deal with, which is NVIDIA, Coney, Misty, are 0.99. So its current value is $1.49 billion, expense ratio 0.99%. So fees collected annually equals fund value times the expense ratio. And let's see here, fees collected annually. Just skip some of that fluff. Fees collected annually down below here, 1.490. So that's $1,490,000,000 times that 0.99. And then it comes up to $14,751,000 they're making in fees. So that's pretty good, right? For a company, that's pretty good. That's one fund. So I said, okay, what about the other ones, right? Which funds are over $1 billion at YieldMax? And so I discovered here, as of January 2025, several YieldMax ETFs have surpassed the 1 billion in assets under management, AUM. Notable funds include Mr., NVIDIA, Tesla, and Coin. And you can see their values right here, right? So if the NVIDIA was $14.75 million, then Mister's above that. It'll be in the $15 million a year. Tesla is the 1.1 billion, so that's going to be around the 11 million a year. And then coin or Coney is in the $1 billion range right now. So that's another $10 million. So between the four of them, they're making, about I don't know what's the math on that, $41 million out of the four of those themselves. So these are the high ticket ones for YieldMax. And so for me, I was thinking to myself, and I did mention it a couple of times before, but I'm going back over here. I want to look at their website and I want to see their options. I want to see what they're doing every single week. I want to see what plays they're doing. And so they're not showing it anymore for NVDY and Coney. These are two of the three that I care about. And so they don't show that on their website anymore. And for me, that's not cool because that's what I look at. I want to see what are you doing for the week? What are your weekly calls? And then I can kind of just look at, the stock market. Let's say they say next week we want it to be $145, which would be crazy, by the way, but who knows? At least I can then go to the stock market and say, okay, let's hope that NVIDIA stays under $145. But now they're not sharing it on their website anymore. And all they're showing us is their synthetic option. So if we as a community are paying them $14 million to trade options, I would like personally for them to show that on the website as well. So what I did, and actually I just want to show you Misty here before I tell you what I did. Misty, let's go up. This is Misty. This one has it. Misty is sharing the weekly calls. So here we go, January 10th, January 10th. And then you got your synthetics, right? January 25th right there. So they're doing it. They have been doing it their entire time. They just stopped about 3 weeks ago. And I want to know why. So what I did, and I would encourage you guys to do the same. I went up to the top of their website, YieldMax.com. I went to contact and I just emailed them. I put my email, my first and last name, my phone number, my question or comment. And my comment was very simple. Why are you not showing your weekly calls on your NVIDIA and Coney positions anymore? Why do I need to go digging into their downloaded holdings and go to this Excel file to kind of dig this up? Why? Right? If I'm paying you 1% and, as an accumulation of everybody paying 1% or $14 million a year, why can't it be put on the website? Why do we have to go digging for this? And so that's what we've grown to be used to. I've been investing in YieldMax for uh, almost 2 years now. So for almost 2 years, I'm used to them pasting their positions onto the website. And so now it's not happening. How come? So I would encourage all of us, if that's something that you go look at, and I actually asked the question in my life, how often do you look at the website? And, I would encourage you guys to do the same thing. Email, pop in your name, phone number, put in your comment. Be nice with your comment. Don't be rude. Just say, I'd like to see the weekly calls on your website because it's a little more difficult for me as a retail investor to go dig it up. But not only that, then you have to go decipher the code. What does SBSS mean, right? You have to decipher that code. That shouldn't be what you want to do. You're trying to make this easy for yourself. For me, I can go out and trade options myself, but I want to make it easy. And that's why I'm with YieldMax, right? So because of, I think lower volume over at NVIDIA, and by the way, I want to show you those screenshots here just to kind of show that to you. Let me bring those up here. So NVIDIA, this is actually just a screenshot from today. Can I zoom into this thing here? Computer. There we go. So that's January 10th options right there. And so you can see, if the strike price was $147, which is only $3 out. Now this could change opening, around 10, 11 o'clock on Monday morning. But right now, the premium I'm getting is $2.37 per share, right? So now you multiply that times 100 because you need 100 to buy a call. It's a little bit more, right? Now let's go take a look at Coney or Coin. Same kind of thing here. but it's much more lucrative, isn't it? Right now, uh, 277 would be the strike price, and then you get $6.33 per share. Multiply that times 100, so you can see it's a lot more lucrative than Nvidia's right now. And then finally, it's the big beast itself, Mister or Misty is what we're into. If you set your strike price at $347, you get $10.97 per share times 100. So you can see this is the one that generates more and more money for us. That's why our distributions have been much higher than Coney and NVIDIA. That's one of the reasons. So, what am I going to do with the distribution that's coming out this Monday? So, 89 cents per share. I own, I think, 363 shares right now. I'm making a slight change, and it's potentially temporary. So normally what I do is I go ahead and I put that money right back into the fund and try and grow the fund, snowball, snowball, snowball. Sometimes what I do is take the distribution, I go put it into Misty or I go put it into Coney. So that's what I've done in the past. But this Monday, if I get paid this Monday, could be Tuesday for me, I'm going to take that 89 cents times 363 shares minus my 15% tax. And I'm going to go buy one share of, let me bring it up here, NVIDIA stock. And then I will have about $111 left over. So I'm going to go ahead and just add some cash to this account here and buy a second share at the same time. So my goal, this is new, this is a new goal here, is to purchase 10 shares of NVIDIA. I hope to have it done way sooner than 5 months from now. I'm not going to sit there and go 2 shares a month. I'm going to try and go 4 shares a month here of buying NVIDIA. But the reason I want to do that is because I'm very high on NVIDIA. I feel like it's going to be an absolute winner forever. But it's got so much hype around it. And the share price, to me, if it's the biggest company in the world, the share price to me seems low. And I'm this is like super amateur, just so you guys know. There's a lot of numbers that you should roll in here, but if it's the biggest company in the world, it's got $144 share price. There's something going on there. I want to be involved in it. And so, I was taking a look at price targets from all of these experts, and some of them are saying all the way up to $199. I think the lowest price target I saw was $102 for this, but that was created 3 months ago. And again, this isn't advice, just what I'm going to be doing with my money. And so I'm going to buy 10 shares, and at that point, I'm going to reassess what I want to do. Hopefully by then the volatility is back and we're starting to make more and more premium with our NVDY ETF here over at YieldMax. So the point of the video was three things. I wanted to talk about how does YieldMax make their money. I wanted to talk about what I'm going to do with my money, and I wanted to talk about some feedback that I'd like to provide the people over at YieldMax to be able to help us retail investors who are basically the foundation of this fund, and by making the website a little bit better. So I think I've gone ahead and shared my opinion, and let me know. Let me know how you feel about me taking my funds that I get and buying the underlying. If we had to taken a look, at the last year here, if you had have bought the underlying itself as opposed to the ETF. Now, mind you, I've been really happy with the returns I've got from the ETF NVIDIA. It's been great. But if you had bought the underlying a year ago, you'd be up right now compared to what you are with NVIDIA. So I'm gonna just take the distributions, put it into NVIDIA, and we'll see how that goes. But I'm thinking, right, if this thing's at 144 and it goes to 190, let's make it 194 as the price target. That's $50 difference times 10 shares, $500. Um, if I had have taken this distribution, put it back into NVIDIA over the next 5 months, 10 months, would it make me $500? Probably not. So, yeah, I think it's a good temporary switch up. I think it's going to be a positive for me long term. and I'm actually pretty excited about that. Friend of mine said we got to do it for Mister. We got to do it for Tesla too. I'm not too sure if I want to do that or not for Mister. We'll see. And I don't think I want to do it for Tesla. Although, I mean, I've been in Tesla like, I don't know, 10 times in my life. And it's made me money every single time. But I don't know. That price seems a little high right now. That is for another day to think about. That's for another video to think about. Tell me how you guys feel about this. Would you do the same thing? Are you doing the same thing? Let us know how you feel about my feedback for YieldMax. I just wanted to say this channel right here is Health and Wealth. My name is Mike. Thank you to the members. You're getting to watch this first. I'm going to put it out to everybody else tomorrow. I hope that you have a wonderful night. It's snowy up here in Canada. My name is Mike. This channel is Health and Wealth again. Have a great night. Bye for now.